Good morning. Happy Friday. We made it to Friday. And it is time for just a word from the Word. Excuse me. Our passage this morning comes from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 18 and verse 6. I'm reading from the King James Version. And here's what it says: O house of Israel, cannot I do with you as this potter, saith the Lord? Behold, as the clay is in the potter's hand, so are ye in mine hand, O house of Israel. If you're familiar with Jeremiah 18, God speaks to the prophet Jeremiah and says, go down to the potter's house, and there I'm going to speak to you. And so Jeremiah goes, and as he observes the potter has some clay with which he is working, and there's something wrong with the vessel that the potter made. Sometimes I read it and it sounds like the potter intentionally mars the vessel, and other times I read it and I'm like, no, there's just something wrong with it and he just didn't like it. Don't ask me. I have multiple opinions on that. But what happens is that whatever marred the vessel, whatever caused issue in the vessel had to be remade again. And Jeremiah writes that the potter remade that clay vessel. And the second time, the potter used the same clay, not different clay, the same clay, that the second vessel was pleasing to the potter's eyes. And then God speaks to Jeremiah and says, tell Israel, can't I do with you just like what this potter did? As the clay is in the potter's hand, so you are in my hands. Have you ever worked with clay? I remember way back in high school. I know I don't look that old, but way back in high school, I took an art class, and it was a rather eclectic class. We did um, drawing, paintings, we did glass work. It was interesting. It was kind of like an intro to art. But one portion of that art class was working with clay. And I'll never forget the teacher getting out um, an actual potter's wheel. It was run by basically your feet would pedal to get the potter's wheel to spin. And the teacher demonstrated what it was like to create a vessel using a potter's wheel, and the process, and the just the water and the moving and the working of the clay, and how you had to get the clay moldable and malleable before you could even put it on the potter's wheel. And when you even got it on the potter's wheel, you still continued to work with the clay. It was like this whole work in progress that would happen just within minutes of time. But it was a constant working, a constant shaping, a constant reshaping. And sometimes he had to take that, stop the wheel, gather the clay again, mold it up, work it out a little bit, put it back on. It was an interesting process to watch. And I imagine that is exactly what Jeremiah saw the day that God told him to go to the potter's house. This morning's just a word from the Word. I actually want to encourage somebody. You've been on the potter's wheel. God has been molding you and shaping you and working in you and even working through you. Those are things to rejoice over. You've been a vessel for his glory. But there comes a time in our lives where God says, there's some issues here. I need to remake the vessel. That can be a scary time. It can be rather disconcerting, confusing, because things were flowing, things were good. But as the clay submits to the potter's hand, so we should submit to the working of God in our lives. We are to be clay in the potter's hand. We're to submit to the process that he's taking us through, and that is not always easy. Um, but if we will submit, if we will not resist the hand of the potter, the Lord Jesus will remold us and remake us, and will be an even greater vessel of honor for the kingdom. So I just want to encourage you, if you feel like you're going through a remaking process, then you're in a good place. It's hard, but you are in a good place. And so your word from the word this morning is rest in the fact that you are in the potter's hands. And he is going to make you into an even greater vessel for his kingdom. You can trust the process. This has been just a word from the word. God bless you. Have a beautiful day. Have an amazing weekend. And Lord willing, we'll see you Monday morning. God bless you.